Ladies and gentlemen, the graduates. And ladies and gentlemen, please also welcome our academic procession. Ladies and gentlemen, please be seated. On behalf of Maastricht School of Management, it is a great honor to welcome you all at this graduation ceremony. A very special welcome to our esteemed guest speakers, the Reverend Professor Kingsley Larby, President and CEO of Regent University College of Science and Technology. And to Ms. Jessie Inman, CEO of the Confederation Centre of the Arts in Prince Edward Islands, Canada, MsM alumna. Welcome also to the members of the board of the Maastricht School of Management. A special welcome to the ambassadors of Georgia, Ghana, Nigeria, Sri Lanka and Uganda, and representatives of the embassies of Bhutan, Indonesia, Rwanda, and Zimbabwe. Welcome to the representatives from our partner universities from all over the world. Welcome to the sponsors of our graduates and to the members of the government and the local business and educational community. Welcome to the faculty and staff of Maastricht School of Management. And of course, a very warm welcome to the graduates from the Maastricht programs who have worked incredibly hard. Today, your efforts will be rewarded. Welcome to the families and friends of our graduates. And finally, a very special welcome to everybody who cannot attend this ceremony, but who has joined us via our live internet broadcast. Now I would like to invite to the stand Mr. René van der Linden, Chairman of the Board of Maastricht School of Management.
Ladies and gentlemen, may I first of all welcome the graduates. It's your day. It's a milestone in your life. And we are very happy that you have chosen the Maastricht School of Management, one of the leading excellence centers in developing countries and emerging economies. I am sure that is one of the best investments you did in yourself, in the contribution to your region and your country, and especially also in investing in human capital. This is, on behalf of the board, I want to say, this is why we are members of the board of the Maastricht School of Management. We are extremely proud on this wonderful community of students, now graduates. May I also welcome, especially, the two guest speakers are already welcomed by the Maastricht School of Management, but they gave this morning a speech which touched my heart. Extremely important speech. More important than money are values. And I'm very happy that you have chosen this issue in this time. We have a lack on ethics and values, moral values, and I believe that in life this is especially important. And the Maastricht School of Management, which is extremely keen on sustainable development, good governance, implementing rule of law, may I say also human rights, they can assure you that this is a contribution to everybody in your country. May I join also the welcome to the ambassadors. We have ambassadors and representatives of 12 countries this day. It shows the international community of Maastricht School of Management. And may I also welcome Mr. Veenhoff, the Chairman of the Supervisory Board of the Maastricht University, Mr. Hoer, the former mayor, and he is a symbol for integrity in politics and in, may I say, also in local and regional developments. For that reason, we are very happy that he gave his name to the Philip Huber Award. May I welcome Professor Veldman. He is former president of the Maastricht School of Management Board, and he is always available to support in any, at any moment, in any case, to support the Maastricht School of Management. May I also welcome Mrs. Verhoeven. She is the president of the Chamber of Commerce. Mr. Akkermans, he is the mayor of the IJsden-Margraten community. And may I welcome Mr. and Mrs. Driesma. He is the artist who has produced this wonderful Philip Huber Award. And finally, I am very happy that representatives of the Rotary Club of Maastricht are here. They have shown a good example. They have adopted students from the Maastricht School of Management to increase the cooperation between our students and the region, but also to show the members of Rotary and other clubs, may I say, institutions, that intercultural, interreligious dialogue is the best investment in a society. I personally, and I may say this, I hate really a development in which people are put in the corner because they have a certain color, a certain behavior, certain religion. We want to support, really want to support mutual respect, tolerance, and especially also invest in human relationship. Today we live in a very tense moment in Europe. We have to face one of the deepest crises during the European Union history. And my motto is always, never waste a good crisis. Don't see the crisis as a threat. If you see the crisis as a threat, it's for sure we will go back to the past. If you see the crisis as a weakness in the system, then, and you take the right measures, then it is an opportunity, a challenge. And for me, it's for sure that each crisis, whether it is in an institution, whether it is in a company, whether it is in government, in a country, if we use it in the proper way, then we will strengthen our community, and we will build on a real good new future. May I finally say to you, be ambassador of the Maastricht School of Management in the future. Be an active alumni of our excellent, extremely interesting alumni network. And be thankful to everybody who have made it possible that you could have this opportunity to study at the Maastricht School of Management, especially your family and all your friends. And listen to the two extremely interesting guest speakers, what they have to say. I would like to support everything they have said this morning, because it's a, let's say, something which is more than worthwhile to listen and to behave in the future in your personal life. Thank you very much.
Thank you, Mr. van der Linden. It is my honor to introduce to you our first guest speaker of today, the Reverend Professor Kingsley Larby. Professor Larby has a very rich educational and working experience. He holds a Master of Theology and a Doctor of Philosophy degree from the University of Edinburgh in Scotland. The Reverend Professor Larby is the founding father of two private universities in Ghana, the Central University College and Regent University College of Science and Technology. MsM is proud to call Regent University one of its partners. We're also very pleased to have amongst our graduates today one of Regent's alumni who came strongly recommended by the CEO and President of Regent University. Ladies and gentlemen, a warm welcome to the President and Chief Executive Officer of Regent University, the Reverend Professor Kingsley Larby.
Chairman of the Board of Trustees of Maastricht School of Management, MsM, Dean Director of the Maastricht School of Management, Your Excellencies, members of the Diplomatic Corps, faculty and staff of MsM, graduation class of 2011, distinguished invited guests, students, ladies and gentlemen. I bring you warm greetings from Ghana, a land of great opportunities. I also bring you good wishes from the board, management, and staff of the Regent University College of Science and Technology, an institution that holds much promise to our dear country. We highly appreciate the relationship you have developed with MsM and the friendship we share with the Dean Director and some of the academic and administrative staff of this great institution. We are therefore looking forward to a continued mutually beneficial relationship in the upcoming years. It is a great pleasure to be part of this afternoon's important ceremony. It is an honor to be asked to be here as a guest speaker, and therefore want to express my deepest appreciation to the Dean Director, the Chairman of the Board of Trustees, and all those who made this arrangement a possibility. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, for several decades now, the Maastricht School of Management has operated as a world leader in the provision of high-level management education. As a leading, globally networked management training institution with partners all around the globe, it has contributed in no small way in raising leaders who will help in the shaping of destinies of the nations around the globe. The strength of MSM is in its global presence, the international nature of its academic and administrative staff, and the quality and the prestige of its programs. Present and past leaders of this great institution might therefore be praised for their great efforts. The Dutch government must also be praised for setting up such an important institution and also supporting it over the years. It is therefore hoped that in spite of global economic trends, the Dutch government will continue to support it because of the important role MSM plays in leadership development around the world. Ladies and gentlemen, of the things that determine progress and development of nations and organizations, leadership plays the most critical role. And it is from this perspective that the work of MSM and other related institutions must be praised, and they must also be encouraged to be concerned about the caliber of personnel they release to the global world. If there has ever been the time for an urgent need for ethical, visionary, and selfless leaders, then that time is now. For our world is in dire need of them today more than ever before. This is because, in spite of all the sophistications that our world has now become accustomed to, there is strong evidence of the absence of strong ethical leadership. And this is the failure of our time. Developments around the world in recent times are indicative of the fact that our world is losing its moral fiber, and it is heading dangerously towards an abyss. The more practices of CEOs of certain companies around the world that almost led to the collapse of various economies of the world, recent happenings that affected a prominent CEO of one of the powerful financial institutions in the world, the forgery of expense claims by some lawmakers in certain countries, the shameful display of moral turpitude of some known political and religious leaders of our time, the ongoing political and civil upheavals elsewhere around the globe, and the selective nature and manner of responses of, yes, some world leaders to these local and regional conflicts are some of the indicators of what is wrong with leadership in our world today. Our present world seems to be in control of men and women who are themselves controlled by base instincts with no reference to morality, ethics, and justice. Ours is a world controlled by injustice, greed, inequities, hypocrisy, and self-seeking leadership. A world where those who are powerful economically and militarily control, dictate, and indeed subjugate those who are economically and militarily weak. Ours is a world where the opinion of the weak and the less powerful can be ignored with impunity. A world where leaders in pursuit of self-interest are willing and indeed determined to kill, maim, and inflict pain on both the guilty and the innocent who stand in their way. It appears leadership in our world today is defined by the dictum, quote, if it pleases me, or if it serves my interest, then it is good, end of quote. It appears if you have military, economic, or political power, then you can do what you want without reference to any ethical or moral code. The failure of leadership at the top level affects majority of the peoples of the world. Educators of leaders at the highest level should therefore be concerned about the quality and caliber of leaders they produce for our world. The time has therefore come for institutions of higher learning, especially management and leadership development institutions, to incorporate into their curriculum issues of character formation, ethics, and morality. And I believe MSM, with its global outreach, can play a leading role in this very crusade. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, it is when conscious efforts are made by governments, public-spirited individuals and organizations to address inequities and injustices of our world that there shall be peace in our communities and in our world. For the good book says that fruit of justice shall be peace. This we will ignore to our peril. For our peace and prosperity is linked up with our just social relations and the peace and prosperity of others with whom we share common humanity. Let us therefore insist on ethical leadership that will work for a just and a prosperous world for all. Mr. Chairman, in view of the fact that in today's graduation, the morning and afternoon graduation, we have large African representation, I am constrained to address certain issues that concern this great continent. Africa is one continent that has been gravely misunderstood and misrepresented. It is amazing how very little the world knows about Africa, the cradle of humanity. The things that are normally highlighted by the media are the paradoxes, the problematic, the bizarre, and the enigmatic. Africa's true story has not yet been told. It is estimated that 40% of the world's natural resources is found on the continent of Africa. Africa can boast of some of the world's finest scientists, engineers, doctors, architects, mathematicians, and what have you. Unfortunately, the large portion of Africa's best brains is found outside the continent of Africa in other latitudes. For example, some Africans are playing leading roles in NASA's Mars exploration. This includes Ghana's own Dr. Ashite Trebi Olenu, who was recently made a fellow of the Regent University College of Science and Technology. Dr. Trebi Olenu is an internationally acclaimed space scientist and engineer who is currently working as a senior robotics engineer and technical group leader at NASA Jet Propulsion Laboratory in the United States of America. And the list is endless. Whereas there are more opportunities in Africa for quicker avenues for success that could be found in most places, most of our young men and women grow up thinking that their salvation is found in other people's country, especially in the Western world. This illusion sometimes forces some young Africans at the very peril of their lives to undertake dangerous journeys across the Sahara Desert and in flimsy boats on raging seas in search of a better life that they think has eluded them on the continent of Africa or in their own countries. I will not be surprised that some graduates in our gathering today who are listening to the sound of my voice have already considered that after their training here, they are going to extend their stay instead of returning to the continent to help in its development. In Africa today, as it has always been, there are great opportunities for investment in areas such as agriculture, manufacturing, agro and mineral processing, education, housing, health, waste management, and banking. And as I speak now, at least there are more than 2 private universities that are looking for partnership and the provision of hostel facilities for students and even the construction of their purpose-built campuses. We have no illusions about the size and the magnitude of the problem that some African countries face. But we know for every challenge presents an equal opportunity for us to succeed and also make an impact upon our generation and to restore hope to the hopeless. One particular example that keeps on tricking me is a man by name Joseph Japon, a Ghanaian, who saw the filth and the environmental degradation in our country as unacceptable. And because of this vision, this passion, he went ahead to establish a company which he has called Zoom Lion. And now Zoom Lion started small with some very daunting challenges, but has now become a household name with presence in every city, in almost every town in our country. And at the moment, is considered among the well-to-dos in our country. And it is operated for only 6 years. And this problem has been there for ages. So it takes a person with a vision to bring a revolution in every society. The challenges of Africa have over the years stemmed from both local and external factors. Africa's encounter of the global world has not always been from the position of strength, neither has it always been positive. The continent, more often than not, has been subjected to exploitation in all its various forms and shades. Africa needs a more healthier and a more humane encounter with their global partners. Instead of offering aid as a panacea to Africa's economic challenges, Africa must be offered equitable business relationship with her global partners. The more technologically advanced world must work with Africa to ensure an accelerated technology transfer to enable it to harness the enormous human and natural resources that abound on the continent. I dare also say that Africa needs visionary leaders like Kwame Nkrumah, Julius Nyerere, and Nelson Mandela to make things happen. Most importantly, it must be emphasized that, like the rest of the world, Africa needs ethical, selfless leaders filled with passion and vision for a new Africa and for a new world. Currently, there is a wind of change blowing all over the continent, and this cannot be reversed. The journey for Africa's search for emancipation has been long. The experience sometimes very bitter and tortuous. There have been decades of unfulfilled dreams. The journey has been a long journey between good over evil, a self-inflicted battle of unethical leadership, as well as an externally imposed battle of subjugation, exploitation, and injustice. But some of us will agree, insofar as human experience in this world is concerned, Good and evil will continue to engage each other. Sometimes evil will seem to be winning. However, in the divine scheme of things, good will ultimately prevail over evil. And this should be the hope of all well-meaning people of our globe. Now, Mr. Chairman, allow me to address the graduating class of 2011. I extend to you congratulations. You can celebrate your success. There have been challenges on the way, but at long last, today, the battle at this phase of your life is over. There are still, however, some more territories to conquer and hurdles to overcome. So the battle of life continues, even after today's glorious event. So, fight on. For the battles that we fail to fight today, we will live to fight them tomorrow. You are going out as leaders, trained in one of the finest management institutions in the world, but you have a charge to keep and a world to conquer. Yours is a world where leadership is losing its moral authority. Go, demonstrating exceptional leadership in your various countries and organizations in every sphere of your life. Demonstrate that you belong to a new breed of leaders and you can make a change. Let the vision of a new world be the perpetual flame that will keep your dreams alive. And remember, there are no shortcuts to success or to prosperity. Therefore, take as your defense moral, ethical, spiritual, and physical fortitude. Let your inspiration and perspiration be a vision and a passion for a new world and a new society. Let hard work, perseverance, and courage be your byword. Above all, let service to humanity be your greatest preoccupation. These are the timeless truths for true living and for true success. Emulate and continue in these things, and the good Lord being on your side, you will win and leave a legacy in the world when your life here on earth is over. Mr. Chairman, distinguished ladies and gentlemen, as a people, we have a common humanity. We have the collective responsibility in working towards a just and prosperous society. This, however, cannot happen unless we insist on ethical and visionary leadership. And this we must do. We must commit ourselves to what makes life worth living. Life is short, but we can leave a legacy. What we do for ourselves will die with us, but what we do for others and our communities will outlive our life here on earth. The future belongs to those who dare to dream and work for it. So let us dream and work for a better world and a better society. Karl Marx once said that philosophers have variously interpreted the world, but the most important thing is not to interpret it, just to interpret it, but to change it. And the good book has also said that where there is no vision, the people cast off restraint. That is, they lose the sense of direction. And because of that, they perish. Someone has also said that ordinary people see things as they are and ask, why? But exceptional people dream about things that never were and ask, why not? Mr. Chairman, I want to end with a quotation with some slight modifications taken from the writings of that famous human rights leader, the Reverend Martin Luther King Jr. And I quote, "Difficult and painful as it might be, we must walk on in the days ahead with an audacious faith in the future. When our days become dreary with low hovering clouds of despair, and when our nights become darker than 1,000 midnights, let us remember that there is a creative force in the universe working to pull down the gigantic mountains of evil, a power that is able to make a way out of no way and to transform dark yesterdays into bright tomorrows." Unquote. Distinguished ladies and gentlemen, this should be our hope and our earnest expectations. Thank you very much, and may our good Lord bless and guide this afternoon's deliberations. Thank you.
Thank you, Professor Larby, for your interesting speech on ethical leadership and the opportunities of the African continent. I am sure you've given our African students, and for that matter all others, something to think about. It is a good tradition at MSM to have one of our distinguished alumni to speak at our graduation. This year we are very pleased that Ms. Jessie Inman has accepted our invitation. Ms. Inman is a true representative of MSM's philosophy of the globally networked management school. I quote her own words. "She felt unique and blessed to be a North American, Canadian, living in Asia, Indonesia, studying a European MBA from the Maastricht School of Management based in the Netherlands." Ms. Inman graduated in 1998 with distinction from our partner university in Indonesia. She has over 30 years of experience in leadership, investment, and development positions. Recently, however, she decided to make an important career switch. She is now appointed as CEO of the Confederation Centre of the Arts in Prince Edward Island, Canada. In her speech, she will elaborate on this. Ladies and gentlemen, Ms. Jessie Inman.
Chairman van der Linden, Professor Dr. de Geisel, Dean Director, distinguished members of the Board of Directors and Trustees, distinguished ambassadors representing the countries of MSM students, distinguished MSM partners, Reverend Professor Larby, honored guests, friends, families, and students. The very reason for our presence here today, the graduates of 2011. Firstly, I wish to thank the Maastricht School of Management for the honor to invite me here today for these very special graduation ceremonies. As alumna of this unique international institution, I am very pleased to congratulate each student graduating here today. MSM is a unique institution with international accreditation and recognition for delivering some of the best quality postgraduate educational programs in the world. Its outreach program is second to none in providing high-quality education to so many corners of the globe. Many schools in the world are still trying to figure out how to go global as a means of staying in business. But MSM figured out a successful business model a long time ago. The professors come to you, you come to Maastricht, or you study here full-time. It all works. It's a winning combination. And then on top of it, we get to have this international alumni, a network that we can count on for the rest of our lives. Unlike most schools, we can send a note off to a graduate in another country where we might have a business interest, and already we have something in common. MsM Maastricht. Our alumni are like our own personal version of LinkedIn. Just this year alone, graduates from 41 countries. Can you imagine the linkages that automatically creates? You actually take home a network found in 41 countries just from this graduation ceremony today. We obtain our degrees through full-time study or sometimes through part-time because we must work as well. But no matter which we choose, there is no better feeling than the feeling of accomplishment. What you are feeling today, here and now, obtaining the degree you worked so hard to earn. The long days and nights where you were buried in books and papers, many of you with family and other commitments, at times you wondered if you were ever going to get through it. But here you are today celebrating those long and sometimes lonely hours. What a wonderful feeling it is. And now it is time to take your new knowledge and intellect and decide how you will use it to contribute to your own lives, your families, to those people around you, to your country, and to the entire world. Some of you may already know what you're going to do next, and others will be seeking out positions in your hometowns, cities, and perhaps in faraway places because you've decided to work internationally. But we all understand that we live in challenging times. We've been through a global financial meltdown in 2008 that has changed the world. And uncertainty continues today, as we heard just recently, in recent days and recent weeks. Volatility seems to be the new norm. We have to learn how to deal with that. However, I believe the trajectory to globalization cannot be stopped, especially now with the true realization of a world connected by the internet. But within that global village, there's a growing sense of nationalism. With changing demographics related to population control, or lack thereof, and an aging population in many countries, many women in the workforce, family needing two incomes to make ends meet, vastly increasing energy demands to meet development of many countries worldwide, changing climates. It's a world of change. But in that change, there is always a land of opportunity. And that is what you, the leaders of the future, must understand as you work hard to meet these new demands of this changing world for the benefit of all people in all nations. Collectively, you cover a globe that needs your vision, your solutions, and your leadership. By the very nature of your decision to study and graduate here today, you have committed to delivering on great expectations. Today, I would like to tell you a little bit about my life, only to give you some examples of concepts, analogies, and ideas that worked for me. I was born into a big family on a small farm in Canada's most beautiful and smallest province, Prince Edward Island. It's most important because that's where Canada was founded in 1867. We lived off the farm. We were not wealthy. Maybe from these roots, or maybe from a quote I read when I was very young, the driving force of my life has been about one single word. That word is commitment. I read this quote when I was young. It may have been written by a Himalayan climber, W.H. Murray, but at least in part by German poet Goethe. But what's important about the quote is the subject. It's about commitment. A quote that I've had written somewhere close to my computer or my office where I could read it every single day. You may know it already, but in essence it goes like this. Until one is committed, there is a hesitancy, the chance to draw back, to change your mind. Concerning all acts of initiative, there is one elementary truth, the ignorance of which kills countless ideas and splendid plans. But the moment one commits oneself, the universe moves to help you. All sorts of things occur that would help one that would never have otherwise occurred. A whole stream of events issues from that decision, raising in one's favor all manner of unforeseen incidents and meetings, which no one could have ever dreamt would have come your way. Whatever you can do, or dream you can, begin it. Boldness has genius, power, and magic in it. So my message to you today is be committed in everything you do. Get up every morning and make a decision of how you want your day to be. Sad, happy, productive, unproductive. Most often you're going to choose happy and productive. But that simple act of making a conscious decision will impact your whole day in a positive way. Be committed to innovation and creativity, but most importantly, to following through. We all have great ideas. Many people think about new ways to do things every day, or they come up with cool new gadgets that are going to change the world. But all the innovation and creativity in the world is not going to bring results unless you commit to taking action. You make a list of steps and start stepping. That is what serious innovators and leaders do. Otherwise, the great ideas just remain in our heads, and they cannot benefit the world. And remember that what you might automatically think of as a failure is not at all. You must look at it, stare it straight in the face, and figure out what you learned. For learning is never a failure. You know that by your very presence here today. You're celebrating having learned so many new things. Sometimes success is just a series of mistakes until you get it right. Lifelong learning is one of my strongest values. I believe we must be committed to always learning something new. Otherwise, we stagnate. I was the CEO of a company in Australia for a while that invented and built a new natural gas processing technology. As CEO of that company, my job was to lead because that's my expertise. But for me personally, I had to figure out the technology. So without an engineering degree, I took it upon myself to understand the thermodynamics of natural gas processing. I succeeded by relentless pursuit and absolute commitment to understanding it. And not too long into that role, I was able to stand up and give a technical presentation about that technology without my chief technology officer in the room to lean on. So let your strengths serve your self-confidence, but acknowledge your weaknesses. How do you overcome them? Can you learn something new to overcome them? Can you figure it out and add to your self-confidence? Because it's that self-confidence that's going to take you many places in the world and in your lives. You can seek out jobs that require, allow, or force you to learn about new things. For example, I had a lifelong love of arts and culture, but never thought about combining it with my career track of being a CEO. And then there it was, presented to me right on my computer screen, a unique opportunity right there on LinkedIn. I went after it, and I was offered this amazing position as CEO of the Confederation Centre of the Arts in Charlottetown, Prince Edward Island, Canada, right back in my home province. MsM learned of this important event in my life and invited me to come and speak to you here today. Most students forget who gave their keynote speech at their graduating ceremony, but I don't want you to forget about me today. I personally invite you to my little corner of the world, this little island in Canada, filled with arts and culture, the things that enrich the soul, raise the spirit, and give you a deeper meaning of life. When you get home today, or whenever in the next few days, I would like you to Google it and plan to come and visit me. Lots of people visit Western Canada, but not fully appreciating the fact that the East has this outstanding beauty and a soul that is rich in history and full of wonderful, warm, friendly people that will welcome you with open arms. So I'm looking forward to seeing you there. Now, I want to encourage you to always look for different avenues that could possibly lead you to an outcome that you want in your life. As an example, in September 1992, I arrived in Bangkok, Thailand. I was leading a group of Canadian business people looking for new markets in Southeast Asia. I immediately knew, stepping off the plane, that I was out of my league, entering a world of culture, language, and business norms that I knew nothing about. So right there and then, on that first trip, I decided I'd move to Indonesia and learn all about it. I chose Indonesia for two reasons. Firstly, everyone told me it was the most complicated place to do business, and I wanted to get the most out of my 2 years. And secondly, because everybody was smiling. Everybody smiles in Indonesia. It was wonderful. Two good reasons. So there we go. I'm going to move to Jakarta. I'll just get a job and move there. My friends back in Canada when I got home thought I was crazy and that the probabilities of making this happen were next to none. And I quickly realized that as a single white Canadian female, getting a job in Jakarta and moving there would be easier said than done. I went around to various Canadian businesses on future trips to Indonesia, only to be told, no Asian experience, no job. So I thought and thought about this and thought some more. How am I going to do this? All the while telling everyone that I was going to move to Jakarta and I just needed the job. And then lo and behold, because everyone knew about it, I heard about the job of Canadian investment advisor to Indonesia. And that seemed to line up with my experience, because now I was already well into my Indonesian language training and becoming well versed in the foreign investment laws of Southeast Asian nations. I found out who could provide me with this job. I pursued him relentlessly for the next 21 months. I did not accidentally run into him. I purposefully ran into him. And every time I did, I wrote him a letter afterwards and said, I'm looking forward to working for you in Jakarta soon. So exactly 24 months from that initial decision, I moved to Canada, from Canada to Indonesia. I was going to stay 2 years, but I soon understood that you can't learn much about a complex country like Indonesia in 2 years, so I stayed 10. I'm not sure I still know much about it, but I know more than I did in the first 2. But before I went to Indonesia, I was already planning on doing an MBA in Canada and had decided to do that when I returned because I was only going to be gone 2 years. But by 1996, I knew I wasn't returning to Canada soon, so I needed a new solution for the MBA. So I tried to get a leading Canadian business school to set up in Southeast Asia because I wanted to do my MBA. To no avail. So then I went out looking for foreign schools operating in Jakarta, and that's how I came upon MsM. After much research about MsM and looking at the reviews that rated it so highly on the international spectrum of business schools, I knew it was the right place for me. The program, although equivalent to full-time study, was organized such that I could continue working as long as I didn't want to sleep or have a weekend off for 2 years. The dedicated professors from MsM came and went as we finished one module after another. And after 2 long years and a lot of hard work, I am happy to say I graduated with an MBA with distinction in banking and finance. And what a feeling it was that day. So I completely appreciate what you're feeling here today. And with that MBA, I was able to tackle more challenging jobs. Even during my studies, I applied my learnings to my job as Canadian investment advisor to that country. And then I went on to work for KPMG, always moving on up until I became the president director of a company to set up a large manufacturing base across Central and East Java. It was interesting being a single foreign woman in the middle of a Muslim country, the most populous Muslim country in the world. But I think I was very successful at it, for what I believe was really only one reason. That is because you always get back what you give in life. It's a very important thing to remember. It just comes automatically if it comes straight from your heart. But my point of telling you this story is just to get back to the word commitment. Commitment to something you want. I really wanted to go to Indonesia. I was relentless in that commitment. And I was patient, and I was persistent. And I also let the world conspire to help me to get it, to fulfill my dream. Commitment creates passion. Passion creates self-confidence. The self-confidence that you can do things that other people might believe that you cannot do. But make sure it is your version of self-confidence. Don't be overbearing. Don't be boastful. Just be sure of what you know, and more importantly, of what you don't know. Be quietly confident. Make sure you know yourself. And when you go about choosing your career, have lofty goals. Do something you love. Don't settle for second best. Go after it because you love it and you want it. If you do, you will get it, and your passion will show through every day to those people around you. And always remember that if one door closes, another one always opens. So that means sometimes we have to deal with fear. There's nothing wrong with fear, it's just how we handle it. How do we get over our fears? For me, it's by confronting it straight on, head on. I had a fear of heights once and flying. So I went bungee jumping 7 times in a row. And then I jumped out of an airplane 7 times in a row. I think 7's my lucky number. And then I've been flying around the world for the past 30 years. So now I have no fear of heights, and I have no fear of flying. So rather, all of that's replaced with the feeling of freedom, a lovely feeling. And one of the things I want to encourage you to do today is to go towards the outrageous or the different, to overcome your fears or to go after something you want. Just a little story. My husband and I, we love adventure travel. We were trekking across the Patagonia in southern Chile and Argentina a few years ago. And I said to Alan, let's go to that small town in the tip of Argentina where you can go to Antarctica. It was big on my dream list to go to Antarctica one day. So we went to Ushuaia and we saw all the signs there, leaving tomorrow for Antarctica for such and such a great price. But of course we were just finishing our trip, so we thought we'll go a year from now. So we went around seeking out all of the options to go to Antarctica a year from now. The choices were large cruise ship, small cruise ship, large icebreaker, small icebreaker, large sailboat, or small sailboat. And I simply asked, which would be the most exciting and exhilarating and rewarding? And of course the answer was a small 60-foot sailboat. And guess what the name of that sailboat was? Commitment. How could I say no? So we signed up to be 2 of 8 people to set sail a year later. Neither my husband nor I had any sailing experience whatsoever, so we went back to Australia where we were living. We took a sailing course, and we crewed on races almost every weekend for the next year. This was all good, but there's not much that can prepare a novice sailor for 60-knot winds and 40-foot waves in the middle of the Drake Passage. So you simply must live in the moment. You live right now. You take it one bump at a time and enjoy the ride. At times I was lashed to the wall beside my little bed just to stay on it, to be able to get some sleep. And we had no idea what to expect when we got to Antarctica. Was this going to be worth it or not? We really questioned it at times in the middle of that passage. We didn't know until we got there and we saw this breathtaking continent of ice with its thousands of penguins. We got to spend Christmas with 3,000 penguins. It was a treat. All the whales and animal life. And thankfully, very few human beings. It was definitely worth it. So life is like that. It's not always smooth sailing. It can deliver bumps along the way, but you always must remember to enjoy the ride, the journey of this one life that we are each given. Don't always be about seeking out the destination. Life is about this moment. It's also about all of the things that you've learned to date, all of the experiences that you've had. But yesterday is gone, never to be lived again. Tomorrow is the future. You're preparing for the future, but live for today. Live in this moment, love your life right now, which I'm sure you do, and you're so excited about it. You'll never get it back to do it over again, so have a great time. But that brings me to something very important, contribution and giving back. Always remember to give back. Life gives us so much. Everyone in this room is so fortunate. No matter your background, your race or gender, your nationality, or your perceived status in life, you are blessed. Around October 31st this year, you will be one of 7 billion people on this planet. And I believe you most likely live a standard of living in the top 5%. We must take care of those that helped us get to where we are today, and we must take care of the less fortunate that are not living like we are. So we must do whatever we can: donate, volunteer, participate, and be there when people need you. In your daily lives, lend a helping hand. Be a good listener. Be a good, true friend. I personally feel so blessed to be going back to my island, the place that rooted me in my early years and gave me the courage to explore the world. I feel like I'm going full circle. It's a wonderful feeling. I want to be there. I want to give back to that unique place in the world where I was born. I'm positive it will fulfill me in many wonderful ways. And my final advice to you today as you return home, to new jobs, to new futures, is about integrity, ethics, values, the things other people have been talking about here today. These are truly the most important aspects of the human life. This is something you must be committed to every single day. Don't ever turn a blind eye. We all know right from wrong. It is part of our humanness. Don't ever allow yourself to compromise your integrity. We've seen senior global business leaders surprise us recently with a complete lack of integrity in countries where things like this are not supposed to happen. Some of these people are in jail, some have been shamed into hiding, and others are riding on top again for some reason. I strongly recommend that integrity, ethics, and these values be a priority in your life so that you can always hold your head high and know that you did the right thing in every decision and in every situation. If you do this, it will define for you and everyone around you exactly who you are. Go to bed with a clear conscience and sleep well. The world is a-changing, but it's an exciting place. You have a full life of opportunity and lots of challenge in front of you. Embrace it and rise to it. Above all, understand and remind yourself often, as I said, who you are and what's important to you. My closing words and my version of a famous quote by Brian Littrell: reach for the moon, and if you don't happen to make it, you'll land in the stars. I have no doubt about it. Congratulations, my fellow students of MSM, my fellow graduates of MSM. Enjoy this moment, this day. It is such an honor for me to be here to celebrate with you. Let's all go away better people because we had this unique opportunity to meet here today to celebrate your graduation. Thank you.
Thank you, Ms. Jessie Imin, for sharing your personal experience with us. I think the lesson we learn is that true commitment brings reward, and our graduates know everything about commitment in the last couple of years. And that brings us to the awarding of the MBA degrees. I would like to invite to the stand Professor De Gijzel, Dean Director of MSM, Professor Van Maurik, Academic Coordinator of the MBA programs, and Ms. Christine Woestenburg, Manager Maastricht Education Operation, for the awarding of the Master of Business Administration degrees.
Candidates for the degree of Master of Business Administration, please rise. The Maastricht School of Management, upon recommendation of the faculty, admits each of you to the degree Master of Business Administration, conferring upon you all the rights, privileges, and responsibilities of that degree. You can now move the tassel to the right side.
Dear MBA students, welcome, you graduates of the MBA class of 2011. This is the last time you will have to listen to the two of us. You've gotten used to it. We're checking your attendance here. I hope no resits will follow now. We have learned to know you as a wonderful group, very pleasant and very tight. The stories we heard about your trips, parties, yoga classes. You were a very special group for us. Congratulations to all of you. I invite you all, Masters of the Business Administration, to come to the stage to receive your diplomas. Mr. Alphonsus Aditya from Indonesia. Ms. Vivian Akanmu from Nigeria. Mr. Sumit Alahakun from Sri Lanka. Mr. Clevis Alimerko from Albania. Diploma with distinction for Mr. Abri Asamoah Duodu from Ghana.
Great. Okay. That's nice. Here we go. Thank you. Very good.
Mr. Bekoretjon Fetene from Ethiopia.
Thank you.
Ms. Ramita Awale from Nepal.
Thank you. Very good.
Ms. Evelyn Aziz from Nigeria. Ms. Mary Barzegian from Armenia.
Great. Thank you.
Ms. Sandra Campos Calderon from Peru.
Okay. Here we go. Great.
Ms. Ariane Chinang from Cameroon.
Okay. Here we go. Great. Thank you.
Mr. Mawulido from Ghana. Ms. Egidia Dusabe from Rwanda.
Yeah, that's right. Thank you.
Mr. Daniel Damatira from Zimbabwe.
Yes. Thank you. Great, thank you.
Ms. Doris Ditorno from Ghana.
Here you go. Great, thank you.
Diploma with distinction for Ms. Ana Echeverria Ruiz from Ecuador.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Tasfir Fahim from Bangladesh.
Here you go. Great, thank you.
Mr. Japi Vangide from Indonesia.
Okay. Here you go. Thank you, great.
Mr. Ataullah Farzamnia from Iran.
Okay, that's how it should be. Yeah, thank you.
Ms. Carla Callardo Hernandez from Mexico.
Thank you. Great, thank you.
Mr. Ketachu Kashu Awoke from Ethiopia.
Okay, please look here. Okay, one, two. Yeah, thank you, great.
Ms. Laura Gomez Benitez from Colombia.
Here we go. Wait a minute, you shut your eyes. Yeah, thank you.
Mr. Gilbert Gambo from Zimbabwe.
Okay. Great, thank you.
Mr. Chuang Gyelchin from Bhutan.
Here we go. Thank you, great.
Diploma with distinction for Ms. Saideh Hamidi from Iran.
Great, thank you.
Mr. Rabindra Yoshi from Nepal. Mr. Georgi Julakidze from Georgia.
Show me what you've got. Yeah. Okay, there you go. Thank you.
In absentia, Mr. Syed Kasmi from Pakistan. Mr. Gilead Kisaka from Tanzania.
Yeah, thank you.
Miss Joanna Comey from Ghana. Mr. Oleksiy Kononets from Ukraine.
Thank you.
Mr. Owen Coelho from Tanzania.
Would you like to look at me? That's good. Thank you.
Ms. Gezang Lamo from Bhutan. Sorry.
Here you go. Thank you. Great.
Ms. Evgenia Luchkina from Russia.
There you go. Thank you.
Ms. Judith Lungu from Zambia.
Okay. There you go. Great. Thank you.
Mr. Ali Mamadov from Azerbaijan.
Okay. There you go. You shut your eyes. That's great. Thank you.
Mr. Kamal Massoud from Yemen.
Yeah, thank you. Great. Thank you.
Mr. Precious Maturure from Zimbabwe.
Okay. There you go. Yeah, thank you. Great.
Ms. Saba Mirafsa from Iran. Ms. Gabriel, a member from Nigeria. Mr. Victor Morales from Guatemala. Mr. Yakubu Mpangule from Tanzania. Can we continue? Or? Sir, have to wait for a moment. Can we continue?
Yes.
Thank you. Mr. Gabriel Mugabe from Rwanda.
Thank you. Great. Thank you.
Ms. Peace Mukagira from Rwanda.
Okay. Put to me, please. Here we go. When you shut your eyes. Here we go. Great. Thank you.
Ms. Adeline Mukashima from Rwanda.
Thank you.
Ms. Annette Mukayiranga from Rwanda.
Okay. There you go. Great. Thank you.
Mr. Unang Mulkan from Indonesia.
Okay. Here we go. Great. Thank you. Thank you.
Diploma with distinction for Mr. Tisai Mudange Pfufu from South Africa.
Okay. There we go. Right away. That's good. Thank you.
Mr. Herman Mushiraboba from Rwanda.
Okay. Here we go. Thank you. Great.
Mr. Lidon Mutumbi from Kenya. Ms. Chilesh Mwiko from Zambia. Ms. Irene Mwoga from Tanzania. Ms. Ruth Namakonsi from Uganda.
Excellent. Thank you.
Mr. Clement Nankpire from Ghana.
Thank you.
Ms. Haika Ndalama from Tanzania. Mr. Yanda Ndila from Zambia. Mr. Daniel Omara from Uganda.
Okay. Here we go. Great. Thank you.
Ms. Rachel Otuga from Kenya.
Okay. Here we go. You shut your eyes. Okay. 1, 2. Great.
Ms. Dichen Peldon from Bhutan.
Here we go. Great. Thank you.
Mr. Kanemugire Fabian from Rwanda.
Great. Thank you.
Mr. Mahendra Pradhan from India. Mr. Rizky Radicchio from Indonesia.
Okay. Here we go. Great. Thank you.
Mr. Chuang Rinzin from Bhutan.
Okay. Here we go. Thank you. Great. Nice move.
Mr. Surya Samal from Bhutan. Mr. Vinu Samuel from India.
Great, thank you.
Is good? Mr. Abhishek Sharma from India. Mr. Eric Shirimpumu from Rwanda.
Yes, here we are. Great, thank you. Thank you.
Ms. Oma Timsima from Bhutan.
Okay, here we go. Very nice, thank you.
Mr. Perika Fraboski from Macedonia.
Okay, thank you.
Mr. Andy Wardana from Indonesia.
Great, thank you.
Ms. Sonam Yangdon from Bhutan.
Okay. Here we go. Very good, thank you.
And our last graduate of today, Ms. Choning Zangmo from Bhutan.
Okay. Take a deep breath. Here we go. Wait a minute. Okay. The last one. Thank you very much.
Congratulations, Masters of Business Administration. And thank you, Professor Van Maurik, Christine Moesterburg, and Frederik Fransen for the awarding of the degrees. Now we proceed with a special part of the program, the awarding of the Philip Huben Award. I would like to invite Mr. René van der Linden, Chairman of the Board of Maastricht School of Management, Professor de Gijzen, who is already on the stage, and Mr. Philip Huben, former Mayor of Maastricht, to the stand for the awarding of the Philip Huben Award 2011.
Philip Huben was mayor for Maastricht from 1985 until 2002. He played an important role in the internationalization of this city. Under his guidance, 2 Eurotops were organized in Maastricht. The most famous one in 1992, when the Treaty of Maastricht was signed, which led to the creation of the single European currency, the euro. Major Huben was also responsible for the move of the Maastricht School of Management to Maastricht. In honor of his achievement, MsM awards every year an award in his name to the best graduate of this academic year. The award is designed by Mr. Appie Driesma one of the famous local artists. This year, the decision was very difficult. In total, we had 6 nominees, and I would like to ask the nominees to enter the stage. The first nominee for the 2011 Philip Huben Award is Laura Gomez Benitez from Colombia. The title of her thesis is Knowledge Management Assessment of Best Practices in Schools. The second nominee is Bekuritsion Fetene from Ethiopia. The title of his thesis is Quality Service and Customer Satisfaction in Microfinance Institution in Ethiopia. The third nominee is Irene Muroga from Tanzania. The title of her thesis is Recognizing Critical Success Factors for the E-Government G2G Systems in Tanzania. The fourth nominee is Clement Nangipire from Ghana. The title of his thesis is The Financial and Social Impacts of Microcredit on Women Beneficiaries in the Lora District of the Upper West Region of Ghana. The fifth nominee is Mahendra Pradhan from India. The title of his thesis is Are Public Finances in India Sustainable? The sixth nominee is Oma Devi Timisama from Bhutan. The title of her thesis is Loan Portfolio Management in Bhutan National Bank Limited, Bhutan. All papers of the nominees have several characteristics in common. First of all, there is a choice of the topic and the research question. An excellent thesis stands out because it discusses a topical issue that has emerging in market and developing country relevance. A second element is the significance of the research and the originality of its results and the adequacy of the student's own contribution in the relevant area of research. A third element is the thoroughness of the work, the command of the theoretical literature, and the adequacy of the methods used. Fourthly, an excellent thesis contains publishable materials. And finally, the presentation of the results both in the thesis and in classroom constitutes important considerations. The nominees all succeeded in doing an excellent job in meeting these standards. All nominees have written final papers that are of excellent quality. Therefore, the choice of winner was not an easy one. This year's winner of the Philip Huben Awards has conducted an empirical study and showed an excellent mastery of methods. The student also showed a remarkable command of the relevant theoretical literature in the field of research. I also know that the winner has started working on his thesis already shortly after arriving in Maastricht last year. The winning thesis occupied itself with the issue of public finance, more specifically with the question of debt sustainability in the context of an emerging market, notably India. Many emerging markets, and nowadays also more and more developed economies, are faced with the trade-off between economic growth that results from public investments and the sustainability of public debts. A survey of the relevant public finance literature results in the formulation of conditions for sustainable public finances. The study continues with a discussion of the current status of public finances in India. In the methodological part, the study conducts unit root tests to examine the stationarity of fiscal variables based on an econometric model. The tests were found to be statistically significant, and so the author concluded that India's public finances are sustainable in the long run. The winner of the 2011 Philip Huben Award is... I want to ask Mr. van der Linden to hand over the award to the winner.
Okay, if everyone has regained the seat again, congratulations, Mahendra, on this very important achievement. I would like to invite Mr. Daniel Omara, MBA, from Uganda to the stand. Mr. Omara will speak on behalf of all the MBA students.
distinguished guests in your various capacities, ladies and gentlemen, allow me to congratulate all the graduates today, including myself. Today we gather here to demonstrate our resilience to academic pressure, social and other. We demonstrate that 35 different nationalities can live in harmony with each other. Indeed, greater communities around the world should take this as a living example so that we can make this world a better place to live. The long academic journey that we started since September 2010 has finally come to the end. We have accomplished our mission, but this is indeed no mean achievement by any standards. We wish to thank the local community of Maastricht for welcoming us and accepting us amidst the rest of the community and in the whole of Limburg in general. The Master of Business Administration program was a holistic package involving constant group work amidst tight deadlines and knowledge sharing among students of different backgrounds. I am confident that each of us has learned something new from this program. While we have achieved a milestone in our academic career, I wish to urge us to be prepared for greater challenges ahead of us. Our managerial skills will now be put on litmus paper, and we must be ready to defend it. But amidst all challenges that we will face in future, know it at the back of your mind that you're a graduate of Maastricht School of Management and that you can handle any challenges that you will face. We are grateful to our sponsors, and I would like to mention on a special note in a few moments on that. As we go out as managers, we must remember to distinguish in our different activities and assignments who is responsible, accountable, consulted, and informed in our different endeavors. This is a simple model that I challenge us to take on from this day on. It must be important to distinguish the positions of responsibility at our workplaces, the positions of who is accountable for whatever that you will do, who is to be consulted in what you're doing, and who has to be informed in what you're doing. As I said, we're grateful to our sponsors for enabling us realize our career dreams of getting the Master of Business Administration degree, and not just any kind, but a Master of Business Administration of Maastricht School of Management. On this note, I wish to challenge the school to open up doors between NAFIC and the students, such that at least we have a position and opportunity to say thank you to NAFIC, because now we do not know exactly what and who this body is. So we'd like to have an open discussion, at least with NAFIC, so we can know who our sponsors are, other than just having email communication. And it would be important for NAFIC officials at least to meet the students twice in a year, at the beginning of the program and at the end of the program, to know how the program went on and for better improvement in future. Similarly, we extend our gratitude to both the teaching and non-teaching staff of Maastricht School of Management for facilitating our program and our stay in Maastricht. It is difficult to mention names, but allow me mention particularly two names. That is Ms. Frederick Franzen and Ms. Ms. Frederick Franzen was always the nth student in the MBA class. Similarly, Miss Anna Oru from the In no time did any of us forget the name of Miss Anna Oru because we needed her all of the time. In one of her many emails to us, Miss Frederick always had one closing remark. And I quote, "I hope I have informed you sufficiently." As we prepare to travel back home, please remember that we have now created a large network around the world, and we should make sure that we keep it alive. Keep in touch as much as you can and convey our greetings to your families. And I wish you all journey masses as you return to your countries. Merci, gracias, spasibo, namaste, murakoze cyane. Asante sana. Mwebale nnyo. Apoyo matek. Dankjewel allemaal. And thank you so much. May God bless you.
Thank you, Daniel, for this excellent speech and your very hard work as class representative of MBA 27. I think I see some of your classmates who want to applaud him. I think that's in order. Thank you, Daniel. And now we have come to the end of the ceremony, and I would like to invite Professor De Gijzel to come to the stand for the closing speech.
Thank you, Alan. Ladies and gentlemen, honorable guests, dear graduates, it's a pleasure for me to say the last words to you. There's a French saying that is, partir, c'est toujours un peu mourir. And this is a feeling I have at this moment. Leaving gives some feeling of dying. When looking around, I see so many happy faces. And I think this is, of course, not surprising after this graduation ceremony. My colleagues are certainly satisfied because of MBA 27 having successfully graduated today. The Board of Trustees can be satisfied with the educational targets. The Board of Directors with the Board of Directors, the operations staff and faculties have achieved. I hope also that our distinguished guests have enjoyed this ceremony, which I want to close now. Let me thank our guest speakers, Professor Kingsley Larby and Mrs. Jessie Inman, for their wonderful and valuable speeches to the graduation ceremony. I also want to thank the class representative, Daniel O'Mara, for his speech. And his valuable recommendation, which I will take serious. Finally, I want to thank our support staff. Without their great support and enthusiasm, it would not have been possible to organize this graduation ceremony with our students, our experience always as very special. And I think they deserve an applause. I think MSM has again demonstrated that it can successfully contribute to management education in developing countries and emerging economies, where there is a shortage of high-quality management supply and a need for management development. Let me finally address very shortly our graduates. I realize that everything has already been said, but I think I have the privilege to repeat what I think is also important to repeat. You are coming from a large number of different countries. This cultural diversity amongst the student body can be judged impressive and reflects MsM's mission. Today represents the culmination of what has been years of very hard work, studying for the MBA, whilst maintaining demanding professional commitments that force many of you to choose a part-time program of MsM. You've earned an important degree, but you have learned much more than your course material. You have also learned to reflect, to exercise your imagination, to create your own internal discipline of study, to observe, to interact with other students, to make friendships, and to form intercultural relationships. All of these things are implicit parts of the MsM experience. Most of them more important than the actual content of the degree course you are graduating from. You can be proud of having been awarded an internationally recognized MsM degree. This degree meets the international standards as certified by the International Assembly for Collegiate Business Education, also called IACBE, the Association of Collegiate Business Schools and Programs, also called ACBSP, and the Association of MBAs, called AMBA. These international accreditations has contributed to the high reputation of MsM in developing countries and emerging economies. You can also be proud of belonging now definitely to the MsM alumni family. And I hope that you will become an active member of the alumni chapter in your home country. I consider you all as important ambassadors of Maastricht School of Management. We are all very proud of what you have achieved. And I know all your families who are here today or could not come to Maastricht and who have also made many sacrifices over the time of your studies are also very proud of you. Many congratulations to each one of you. And I hope the MBA degree you have worked so hard to achieve will enable you to contribute more effectively to the continuing development of your country. After I have closed the ceremony, you are all kindly invited for refreshments at the MsM Reception Hall and Business Lounge. The audience is requested to wait in the conference hall until the procession, the VIPs, and students have left. I now close the academic convocation by saying, class of MBA 27, you are dismissed.